Members, good morning. This is the Subcommittee on Matters Relating to Railways under the panel on Transport. I call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. First item on the agenda, information papers issued since the last meeting. 2 papers have been issued to members. They are listed in the agenda. They are CB-3 527/2026-01 and CB-3 620/2026-01. I ask members to note the information papers. They are from Ms. Christine FONG on the smart and green mass transit system in East Kowloon. The administration has responded. Item 2, items for discussion at the next meeting. Please refer to CB-3 754/2026-01. This is the list of outstanding items for discussion. The next regular meeting will take place on the 2nd of October, which is a Friday, between 10:45 and 12:45. You will find the items for discussion for the next meeting. The administration proposes 2 items, namely 1, leveraging innovation and technology for smart railway operation, and 2, progress update on railway projects outside the northern metropolis. If there are no other views from members, these are the items for discussion at the next meeting. Any questions? You all agree? Thank you. Item 3, service performance and adverse weather coping measures of MTRCL. Please refer to a paper provided by the administration, CB-3 754/2026-02. Please invite the administration and representatives of the MTRCL to join us. Members, if you would like to ask questions, please press the Request to Speak button. The administration and the MTRCL will use a PowerPoint presentation to take us through the paper. Who's to take us through this? Mr. Kirk Ip, Deputy Secretary, would you like to make an opening remark? Yes. Good morning, members. The railway network is the backbone of Hong Kong's transportation. They carry on average about 5.71 million passenger trips. The government has been monitoring the performance of the MTRCL to ensure that the railway services provided is reliable, efficient, and of high quality. We maintain a close liaison with the MTRCL to make sure that they have the resilience and the preparation in place to tackle adverse weather. Given the, a balance will have to be struck between coping with adverse weather and ensuring the safety of staff members and passengers. I will defer to the MTRCL in relation to their service performance, the asset, as well as measures to cope with adverse weather. After that, we will be happy to take questions. We will hear from Mr. Wilson Kwong. How long will you need? About 10 minutes. Please be as concise as possible. Members, we serve every day over 5 million passengers. We are a renowned, safe, reliable, and efficient railway operator. We update our assets. We make use of technology to enhance the traveling experience. Since the merger of the 2 railway companies, we've been expanding our expert. In 2025, we have served 1.85 as well as over 900 million train services. The passenger on time data maintained at a level of 99.9%. And train service delivery is also at a high level of 99.9%. In addition to that, we attach importance on cleanliness, reliability, as well as our equipment and facilities. Data in 2025 shows that the performance of our various aspects exceeded our targets. The information is made available to the public. You can make use of the MTR newsletter to learn about these figures. We maintain a reliable and efficient service. We've been given recognition from our counterparts. We maintain a very high level of service. According to 2024 data of COMET, this is a benchmark. Our train trips on time stands at 99.9%, which is way higher than the average performance of other operators. In terms of enhancing traveler experience and expanding our network through smart and innovative measures, we have received recognition as well. In the summit of UITP, International Association of Public Transport, taking place last year in June, our ridership prediction model and intelligent crowd diversion system was awarded. Our proposal at Kai Tak Sports Park won the top award in the Operation Excellence category. In the Hong Kong ACE Customer Service Excellence Award, we have attained the top award. This is an encouragement to our team. It also shows that our direction of using technology to improve our service is effective and will deliver results. We will continue our approach to provide reliable and safe services to customers. With the commissioning of the Timar Line and other extensions, our network has been expanded. The number of delays since the merge has been dropping. We have run over 1.85 million heavy rail services. The number of railway incidents causing a delay of 8 minutes or more is lower than that in 2024. This is the result of our hard work. We have to provide reliable service. Maintaining a service of over 1 million train service relies on a complicated system. Our network is expanding. Our asset is maturing. We have to devote significant resources in the renewal and maintenance of our assets to maintain our service. Between 2023 and 2027, we have allocated more than $65 billion to replace and maintain railway assets, to maintain equipment quality and ensure that our services keep pace with the times. We actively use digitalization. We have introduced AI, big data, satellite navigation, as well as Internet of Things. We have used AI to conduct a big data analysis. We make use of technology, make use of data to identify early abnormalities in relation to our assets, including tracks, overhead lines, etc. We aim to enhance the performance in operation and asset management. We are improving the signaling system of the 4 urban lines. In March this year, we have replaced the old system at the Tsuen Wan line. We have been using new trains as well. The new signaling system relies on the communications-based train control technology, CBTC. This enhances operation and maintenance management efficiency. It makes use of a real-time smart data for monitoring the operation of the trains and the signaling system. According to our schedule, we think that we will complete the replacement next year for the Island Line. The Kwun Tong Line and the Cheung Kwan O Line is proceeding as planned. We expect the projects to be completed in 2029. Passenger feedback is important to our service. The service quality indicators in 2025 has reached a new high since the rail merger in 2007. Since 2027, we've been launching the Let's Hear Your Voice campaign. Our management team engages with passengers at stations and on trains. Last week, me and my team went on trains to personally listen to the feedback from passengers on facilities, train services, and other areas so that we can have targeted improvement measures put in place. We make use of different measures to maintain a safe, reliable, and efficient service. However, from time to time, we are at the mercy of the various factors. We want to enhance our resilience. We maintain close collaboration with district stakeholders and government departments. We conduct large-scale drills to make sure that we are well prepared and we will be able to deploy resources accordingly swiftly to handle emergencies. We see more and more adverse weather. We make preparations before the typhoon and rain season. As I said, we attach importance to communications with stakeholders. We have talked to legislators, government departments to get a better understanding of the situation and to enhance our capability to respond and to cope. We have completed our annual drill at various stations to familiarize our staff members. We've also conducted a comprehensive check of our flood control and drainage system. At train stations that have a higher risk of flood, say for example, Wong Tai Sin Station, we have installed flooding sensors. The sensors have worked well in the past. When signals are detected, floodgates, floodboards will be installed, or, if necessary, close certain exits to ensure safety. As far as possible, our staff members will provide service to take care of passengers who need to commute. We closely monitor the weather and make necessary adjustments. When there is a typhoon signal 8, the heavy rail and light rail service will generally remain normal. The bus service will be suspended 3 hours after signal number 8 is issued. When signal 9 or above is hoisted, heavy rail, light rail, and MTR buses will be suspended. There will be a limited service maintained in underground sections. For open sections, for trains operating in open sections, they will, as far as possible, travel to the original destinations or stations connected to shopping malls. With the upgrading of the signaling system, our flexibility has improved. Previously, between Chun Wan and Tai Wo House stations, when a number 9 signal or above is hoisted, the train would be suspended. But now it will be maintained. Our maintenance team will be on standby. When signal 9 or 10 is lowered, then we will move swiftly to take action to clear fallen trees and debris and carry out checks. Please understand that for longer open sections, it takes more time to conduct clearance as well as checks. As soon as we're ready, we will resume service. We ask passengers to closely monitor the latest information we disseminated when the signal is changed from 9 to 8. We also ensure that there are shelters for passengers to use. We will distribute snacks, water, as well as blankets to take care of passengers in need. During a typhoon, the weather may change very quickly. So when there is a signal number 8 or higher hoisted, we ask passengers to keep a close eye on the weather information. We will strive to excel. We will be humble to listen to passengers' views. We'll continue to invest in the future. We'll make use of innovative technologies. We'll move ahead with the times. We'll enhance our resilience to cope with adverse weather. We'll move with the progress of city. We aim to provide a safe, reliable, and efficient service to the general public. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kwok. Now it's time for members to ask questions. So far, there are 8 members in the queue. I'll read out their names. The first is Christine Fong, followed by Chang Pui Kong, Chow Siu Chung, Chong Ho Fong, Aaron Bok, Ellen Chan, Yu Ming, and Chen Han Pan. Each will have 4 minutes, including question and answers. The first one is Christine Fong. Thank you, Chairman. The public is concerned about mechanical faults at MTLC that causes incidents. Paragraph 8 shows that there's 11 incidents resulting in delays of more than 31 minutes, and 9 of which were related to mechanical faults. I know that MTLCL has enhanced your data analysis and also prediction mechanisms, and you also have a integrated maintenance center which I visited. But is it that of the 9 major incidents that happened, is it because that the center could not address them? And what measures do you have to reduce the delays caused by mechanical faults? And I also think that your maintenance and repair center can only cover the railway project repair projects in the new territories. So is there any room for improvement in your repair services? And also, as mentioned in paragraph 10, of the 4 urban lines, the signaling upgrading system, particularly for the Hong Kong line, that should be finished next year. But I'm concerned about the Kwun Tong line and the Cheung Kwan O line. They won't be finished till 2029. Is there any room for expediting the work? Because in the past, Cheung Kwan O residents have said that it's too long for them to wait 6 to 10 minutes for a train. And the waiting time is so long for each trip. That is from Cheung Kwan O to Lewis Park Station. The escalators or elevators are overloaded. So before the upgrading of the signaling system, is there room for improvement or to increase the provision of escalators? And also, you mentioned in paragraph 12 that there are actually 32 stations with a high risk of flooding. So you have installed flooding sensors. Do you think that it will be installed in New Territory South East or Cheung Kwan O line or O Chi Wan, Choi Hong Station or Tai Shui Hang Station? And for some tunnels that are connected to the low-lying areas, would you negotiate with the Highways Department so as to improve the drainage systems? Mr. Ip, would you like the MTLCL to answer? Yes, Mr. Kwong, yes. Thank you, Ms. Fong, for your question. You have 3 questions. Let me try to answer them one after another. As for our repair work, thank you for your concern for our repair center and your visit to it. Of the entire MTL network, providing a efficient and reliable network all along has been our goal, and we have adhered to a stringent repair and maintenance system to ensure railway facilities are in good condition. But please understand, for railway systems, they involve tens of thousands of components. So if there are any faults, mechanically, we want to, on the one hand, maintain railway services, but whenever it's safe, our repair services staff would do their work to try to reduce the inconvenience to passengers. Indeed, in 2025, we have 11 incidents of delay, as mentioned in the paper. But we have not stopped putting more resources into repair and maintenance. Since 2023, we have invested $60.5 billion in repair and maintenance, and we're continuing with our work. Yeah, please carry on. About the flood risk, yes, I'll continue on. As for signaling system upgrade, thank you, Ms. Fong, for your concern. I'd like to thank members for your support this year. In March, in Chi Wan Line, we changed the signaling upgrade system, and As a result, new trains are being deployed there. But changing the signaling system is a major work. We need to look at the uniqueness of each line so that we are doing it in an orderly, gradual manner to change the system at various lines, including the Zhengguan line. As for flood risks, and also under extreme weather, MTRCL has been actively trying to tackle the issue. I mean, not just us, but the whole Hong Kong has to cope with it. For flooding, besides installing the sensors, we've also done other tasks. For example, at places with a high risk, we have the sensors installed, we have the flood doors, and also there are locations where there are floodgates. And because of our preparations, when the black rainstorm signal is enforced, we would temporarily close all the entrances and exits of stations to avoid flooding. So, Ms. Fong, you can rest assured to cope with climate change. That has always been our goal. We want to provide safe services. That's our goal as well, and we'll invest in improving further our work. Next one, Chan Pui Kong. Thank you, Chairman. I'm concerned about how you're going to support people with disabilities. Just now you mentioned that in cases of extreme weather, when it's raining too heavily in rainstorms, you may close the exits and entrances of stations. But once you have closed them, then how about people with mobility problem, like the elderly people or people in wheelchairs or people actually pushing trawlers? People may be forced to go to the staircase. So for people in need at that moment, if they need to go to the MTR station, could you open your elevator for them? And in the case of a flood risk, MTRCL, what sort of emergency disposal plan do you have to assist people with walking issues? Mr. Kwok, Deputy Director. Thank you, Director. In cases of extreme weather, we would pay attention to that. In terms of flood risks, we will have advanced preparations. That is for individual exits and entrances if they need to be closed. And if there are people with walking problems who require assistance, definitely they can seek help from our staff. And whenever it's safe and feasible, we will provide help for them, for sure. And secondly, in terms of emergency or contingency plan, MTRCL does have a very stringent contingency arrangements. Every year, we also carry out drills to ensure that our staff and our stakeholders understand how we operate. And we will periodically review our contingency plans to ensure that there can be highly safe and efficient operations. Any follow-up? No? Next one is Chow Siu Chung. Thank you, Chairman. MTRCL has maintained good services for a long time in terms of safety and reliability. It has maintained a good performance over the years that deserves our compliments. But I'd like the MTRCL to seek to do even better, to strive for excellence, and to provide high-quality performance or service. So I've got several questions. In paragraph 8 of the paper, it's mentioned that last year there were 132 incidents of delays of 8 minutes last year. Of them, there were 11 incidents of delays of 31 minutes or more, and of which 9 cases involved mechanical failure. So of the 133 incidents, how many were related to mechanical failure? And paragraph 11 says that you will use innovation and technology or AI to carry out predictive maintenance. I've heard this word for several years now, but I want to know more. When you have this predictive maintenance, in the past few years, what is the result has been? Have you got any KPI in order to reduce the chances of mechanical failures? What is your goal? Is it to limit the number of incidents to within a certain number? And also your maintenance team. After bringing new technology, have you found that when it comes to maintenance and repair, the staff, have they been given training in new technology? And also, as for adverse weather, I'd like to thank MTRCL. We all know that whenever there's a typhoon zero number 8 hoisted, people would need to rely on MTRCL to go back home. That's a very important choice for people, and that's a safe choice. But on the other hand, for people serving the public in your stations, even under signal number 9, particularly when the signal number 9 or 10 is lower to signal 8, then staff need to be dispatched to clear up the railway lines. So what is your arrangement for the staff to go back to work? Any safety assurance for your staff working under typhoons? Mr. Kwong, thank you, Mr. Chow, for your compliments for our company. MTRCR has been actively looked into improving our services. I agree we can only do even better despite our good record. And for your 3 main topics raised, the first about delay. As you can see from the paper, last year there were 133 incidents of delays of 8 minutes or more. In 2025, of our 1.85 million heavy rail train trips, the 133 incidents meant a decrease of 14% year on year. Well, various factors were responsible, and of course, there were mechanical, human errors, and external factors involved. For each incident, we will see how we could make improvements. On the whole, we want to see a downward trend continuously. To achieve that, staff are very important. To us, staff are very important asset. So besides finding good ones, we also need to do training for them and apply technology. So we'll take a multi-pronged approach. Rest assured, for staff, will not reduce their number, and we keep hiring indeed. And as we expand our networks, our demand for staff will only increase in time. And thirdly, about typhoons, let me give you an overview here. When tropical cyclone hits Hong Kong, the prime consideration for our company is safety, not just for passengers, but safety for our staff. So as I just mentioned when I introduced to you our presentation, under typhoon number 8, we continue with our services. When it's number 9 or 10, indeed, we will need to, for the open sections, we need to suspend the railway service for the sake of safety. Under Typhoon 9, when it's lower to Typhoon number 8, then whenever it's feasible and safe, we would let the staff to go out to the railway tracks and check the situation, and whenever it's safe to restore the service. So I thank members for understanding that we do attach importance to the safety of passengers and staff, and when typhoon hits, we will maintain dissemination of information and let our staff and passengers know our latest operations. Next one is Chong Ho Fong. Thank you, Chairman. MTRCL, when the time comes for the hoisting of typhoon number 8, the open sessions will suspend service. I know that when number 8 is on, the observatory will also let public know if there's any chance of number 9 being hoisted. Usually, if MTRCL make no announcement when you will stop your services, then passengers would flock into the compartments. So my view is that whenever typhoon number 8 is hoisted, you must do two things. One is that for the open session railway lines with open sessions, like the Tuen Ma line from Tuen Ma West all the way to Tuen Mun, for passengers who are not yet on board, you must give them clear indications and announcements on the platform and let them know when number 9 will be hoisted and where the rail service ends, which is its destination. In 2023, there's a typhoon attack. The passengers on Tuen Ma line were all concentrated in Tuen Ma West station, and they had no choice, some of them, but to call taxis, which cost them up to $10,000. So that's what I want you to do.
And what about passengers who are already on board? You have to make sure that they are fully on board through your PA system. If you can tell passengers when signal 9 will be hoisted and where the train will stop, then they can look for other modes of transport in advance. They can also use their phones to book taxis. There is no need to make them wait till they are stranded before they realize they need to find other modes of transport, just like what I mentioned earlier at Tuen Ma West Station. They had to wait for a very long time and pay through their nose for taxis. I want to make sure that you will effectively evacuate or help passengers go home during signal 9. You talk about a number of high-risk stations under paragraph 11. You talk about installation of flooding sensors. Are they expensive? Why not have them installed in all stations? Other than Yuen Long light rail, there are also light rail stations. Can they be done? You talk about installing floodboards, floodgates. When you're alerted by the sensors, how long will it take? Say, for example, when you receive the alert to having all the floodboards, floodgates installed, how long will it take? Mr. Kwong, thank you for the question. There are two parts. I will first answer questions in relation to tropical cyclone signals, and then I'll defer to my colleague about arrangements or measures in relation to flooding. Under adverse weather, MTRCL will work under the premise of safety ensured for passengers and staff members. When we put in place measures, we have to carefully consider all factors and draw reference from past experience. We have put in place a contingency measure. On the 15th of May, we issue a press release. We make use of Facebook and MTR Mobile to disseminate the information. We'll continue to do so. When signal 9 or above is hoisted, indeed, the open sections of the heavy rail, MTR buses, as well as light rail service will be suspended. For underground sections, for trains on open sections, they will try to reach their destination or go to a station with shopping malls for passengers to seek shelter. All stations will be open. Blankets, snacks, and water will be distributed to stranded passengers. The weather may change every time when there is a typhoon. When we realize that the signal may change, we will put in place measures and make adjustments. We'll disseminate and broadcast the information on our trains and in our stations to let passengers know. Before I defer to Ms. Lee, I'd like to add this. I ask for the understanding of the general public and members. During typhoons, especially when signal 9 is hoisted, The wind direction and wind speed may change all of a sudden. We attach huge importance to safety. We appeal to members of the public to stay at a safe place when signal number 9 and above is hoisted. I'll now defer to Ms. Cherish Lee. Thank you. Thank you for the question. At high-risk stations, that means where the exits will have a risk of flooding, we conduct assessments regularly to decide whether we need to install sensors. We work in accordance with our risk assessment. When the red or black rainstorm warning signal is in force, we step up patrols and inspections, and we install floodboards and activate flood doors at entrances that are prone to flooding. We make advanced preparations and, if necessary, close the exit temporarily to ensure safety for passengers and staff members. So you close certain exits before red or black rainstorm warning is up. We enhance our inspections when the rainstorm warning signal is up. We'll closely monitor the information from the observatory. We fully consider all the factors. If the rain is heavy, we will put in place corresponding measures. We have to strike a balance between ensuring safety and safety of railway operations. Mr. Aaron Bok, I'd like to give due recognition to the service of the MTRCL. As it says in paragraph 5, well, the MTRCL's train trips on time exceeded 99.9%, outperforming the average punctuality of all other participating operators. When you've done so well, people will focus on the 0.1%. Paragraph 8, 2025. Out of over 1.85 million heavy rail train trips, there are 133 incidents of delays of 8 minutes or more, and 11 incidents of delays of 31 minutes or more. So people will focus on the 11 and 133 incidents. There is always room for improvement. In paragraph 13, you talk about frequent climate changes. You said that, well, currently most MTR stations are designed to be at least 450 millimeters above the street level and are equipped with 1.2 meter high flood boards. Inspections will be stepped up, etc. However, in 2022 September, there was a serious incident of flooding at MTR station at Wong Tai Sin. So, what are the stations that have not reached a standard of 450 millimeters above street level? These high-risk stations, will you improve the resilience of these stations? Mr. Kwok, I fully agree that we can always do better. Our team will continue to strive for excellence. Mr. Bok asked about the impact from climate change, especially from heavy rain. We put in place systems as required by the Drainage Services Department. We design, construct, maintain our control and drainage system in accordance with the requirements. We also conduct regular inspections. Most of our stations are at least 450 millimeters above street level and are equipped with 1.2 meter high flood boards. For other entrances, flood doors are installed as necessary. We conduct a risk assessment. We have a plan to install additional facilities in accordance with the risk assessment. For stations that are not about 450 millimeters above street level, that may be because of the topography or there is no need to do so. The various locations, we have floodboards, flood doors, floodgates ready to be installed. During red or black rainstorm warning signal, we step up patrols and inspections and react swiftly as necessary. The question was the number of stations that are not at least 450 millimeters above street level. Do you have the information? We'll supply the information after the meeting. Yes, a written supplementary information paper. Yes. Next, Mr. Alan Chan. First, I really appreciate the constant devotion of resources to improve their services, especially the $65 billion invested to maintain and replace assets. In a morning exchange, I have spoken to Wilson and his team. I have experience in maintenance. We attach great importance to preventive maintenance. We need to be preventive. Preventive maintenance can reduce corrective maintenance. Please don't use mixed code in your question. As you have already put in place preventive maintenance, I want to ask, has it effectively reduced the cost of repair? Between 2023 and 2027, you have devoted $65 billion. The CEO has mentioned that half of it has already been devoted. And there is a drop of incidents of 14% compared to 2024. So, preventive maintenance and additional investment to replace and upgrade assets. What is the ratio? Can you give us a breakdown of the cost items? Do you use the signaling system manufactured by Chinese mainland? What is the percentage of components made in China? I ask this question because it has a bearing on geopolitical tensions. We may be sanctioned. This will affect procurement of components from overseas countries. Mr. Kwong? Thank you. Thank you for the question. The member mentioned about preventive maintenance. It's something that we attach importance to. Our system is maturing. We tackled different incidents. We do need to do more in terms of preventive maintenance. Of course, a part of the $65 billion is spent on instant maintenance and preventive maintenance. You ask about reduction in cost. It's very difficult to say definitively. We have been continuously investing. The delay percentage has dropped by 8 to 14%. we work very hard to reduce the number of delays. You'll find the figures in our financial report, annual report. I'm not going to go into details here. The member also asked about our signaling system. We have used different suppliers over the different times. We don't differentiate between whether it is made in China or not. The most important factor is whether it fits our needs, whether it enables us to provide a safe, reliable, and efficient service. We heard Mr. Chen. We'll take that into account in our procurement exercises. We constantly review our procurement procedures.
Yu Ming, thank you. I think all of us find the MTR service very good, whether it's the MTR brand in different places or locally. Well, indeed, it has enjoyed a very good reputation outside of Hong Kong, providing very reliable, efficient services for us. So we are very satisfied with it. But for contingency measures, I know that MTRCL has done a lot, for example, installing floodgates and so forth. But now, in the face of extreme weather, and on June 18, on a day, there were 2 black rainstorms put in place. In Tin Shui Wai Station itself, next to it, you can see the site of a river, and because of the rainfall. So what did it show? Well, you can see that the water level is so high up to the knee. And we then discussed the matter with buildings department and so forth. And it turned out that next to the station, there is a drain. And it's not clear as for that drain whether it's the responsibility of MTRCL or Highways Department or Drainage Services Department. So how many cases do we have, similar cases do we have of stations where the drainage pipes where it's unclear whose responsibility it is to look after or to manage the drainage pipes next to the stations? There are also sludge found accumulated near the drains, which means that there's a lack of clear up. So I think that you can discuss with relevant government departments to review the situations of stations where there is drainage pipes and you're not sure whose responsibility it is to manage them. Thank you for your support and encouragement, first of all. And I'm sure that we can only do even better, despite our good record. Yes, on the day you mentioned the black rain, in the west of Hong Kong, the rainfall was very high. And we've noticed situation in Tin Shui Wai. As shown in your picture, immediately, knowing what happened, we liaised with the government department concerned. Undoubtedly, well, we would definitely look after our own station. But for areas next to our station, we maintain close ties with the relevant stakeholders. Should the same situation happen, we will try to resolve it. But on that day, the rainstorm is really serious, and so in the future, should the same thing happen, we would, again, to have advanced preparations and cope with it immediately, and we hope to do an even better job next time. Any follow-up? How about the boundary? The drainage pipes there, as far as I know, it's not clear how to draw the boundary there and determines which should be responsible for what. So I think you need to make it clear, clarify with the government to see where the boundaries lie. Yes, our railway protection unit will follow up on it. Next one is Chen Hanpeng. Thank you, Chairman. MTLCL, well, has been praised by a number of our colleagues for its satisfactory operations. Indeed, MTLCL has mentioned in the paper it has a very sophisticated and vast railway networks with the increase in number of lines, and some facilities are aging. So therefore, in the past few months, we've been to the new maintenance facilities run by MTRCL, including some automated facilities. And Chairman, you also took us to see the corporation's smart operations for maintenance and repair. And we can see that you have strived to explore new technologies, but with your vast systems, repair maintenance definitely will remain a major issue. And over the years, you have been carrying out repair maintenance at night in a very short time frame when the surface is halted. But now with such an expanding system, can you maintain such kind of maintenance approach to do it in such a short period of time at night? I'm concerned about that. So I hope that in terms of your time frame for maintenance, you may need to let the public know whether you need more time. If you need to halt your service earlier, then you need to let the public know beforehand so they can prepare. And should problems be identified later because of maintenance issue, then that would be even better, even more serious consequence. And for extreme weather, we know that MTRCL is the only mass transit system that remains to be operational. But when typhoon number 9 is up, then people will complain why MTR service come to a halt suddenly. When typhoon number 8 goes up to number 9, can you set up a mechanism so that the public can know clearly whenever a warning has been issued by the Hong Kong Observatory, that is when number 9 will be up within a certain time frame, your services will halt. If you have a mechanism to let the public know immediately, then the public will not blame you if you suspend your service because of the weather situation. So the most important is in terms of dissemination of information. Can you give us a more transparent mechanism so people would know for sure when your service would be suspended? Mr. Kwong, thank you, Mr. Chen, for your question and your visit to our integrated repair center. We do hope that in the future, our center can serve even more lines. Your points made, one concerns our time frame for our maintenance. Yes, each night we need to rely on the window or the golden 2 hours after service ends and before resumption of service the next morning to carry out the relevant work. But as our network expands and as the system matures, there is quite amount of pressure we face for doing maintenance and repair. But we will review it. If we need a longer time for repair and maintenance, we will announce to the public as soon as possible so they know beforehand they need to make other transportation arrangements. And as for the handling of extreme weather, particularly when tropical cyclone hits, when typhoon number 8 is to be raised to cellular number 9, let me share that in the open sessions of our railway services, when number 9 or higher is up and when the service halts, when that happens, we would ensure that our trains stop at areas connected to shopping malls so that passengers can have shelter in a safe place. Because when typhoon number 9 is up, that means the direction and the strength of winds would change or intensify suddenly. The safety of passengers and safe are important to us. And I can promise that once we receive the latest news from the observatory, we will, as soon as possible, arrange for the service to be provided including within our stations or on the compartment, within the compartments, on social media. Together with the government, we will announce our schedule so the public would know about our latest deployment of services. Next one is Yeoman Kit. Well, I can see that there's room for MTRCL to make continuous improvement. And now that I know that you're adopting more smart technology, that's the trend. But you still need to consider about the needs of the public. Now you've got more than 90 stations, of which there were 6 which did not have any customer service counter. And these stations are in old districts, like in the South Hong Kong line, South Island line. You may not have the space to set up the customer service counters. But for Tuen Ma line, there could be stations with the customer service counters. And you now ask the passengers to ask questions, ask Tracy questions. But that may not be helpful to elderly people. In the Tokyo One station, for example, you have the customer service counter and there are people manning the station or the counter, but they provide limited help. Now you have the facility and the people. Why can't you open up the unit to serve the public more? So I'd like to find out more. What are your criteria in deciding where you would set up a customer service counter? And also I have a suggestion for you. As for the Wong Tai Sin station, since the heavy rainfall, when the Northern Mall was flooded, in Wong Tai Sin, as a result, you have installed floodgates and so forth, and which have achieved results. The problem now, however, is that whenever there's a black rainstorm or heavy rainfall, the whole station, the exit near the Northern Mall will be closed, and many people living in the area would come to the station from Chuk Yuen Estate, from the Northern Mall, through the Northern Mall. There are signs, of course, that you put up in the station, but can you liaise more closely with the operator of the mall and don't let people be in the dark, not knowing that the exit is closed? You should put up signs in the exit nearby to remind people to go to the exit through the Southern Mall rather than going to the usual route of entering through the Northern Mall. Mr. Kwong, Mr. Yuan, thank you for your suggestion. On Wong Tai Sin station, as you said, through various channels, we will disseminate information when needed as for the closure of exits and entrances. But continuously, we will liaise with the stakeholder, the shopping mall operator, to see how we can actually communicate better so that for people who are using that exit would be informed of the latest arrangement when needed. And as for customer service counter, I'll ask Ms. Lee to answer. Deputy Director, thank you. Mr. Yuan, for your question. Periodically, we review our mode of operations at various stations. Like in Tokyo One station, our customer service counter is actually manned, and we have staff on duty there so that old people would not need to go far away to find help. Indeed, our staff would go to reach out to elderly passengers, indeed. So we'll keep reviewing our operational mode and to see how we can meet the needs of a particular community better. Follow-up question. Yeah, Ms. Lee just said that, well, that's your operational mode, but that the fact is, in the absence of a physical counter, many services cannot be provided. The most you can do is to help with the elderly people pass the gate. But when it comes to submitting forms, making applications, elderly people need to go to the nearest stations, which is Hong Kong, and that is very inconvenient to people in the area. It's not that you don't have staff or you do not have a physical counter. Why don't you open it? Why instead of opening up a counter, you just assign a staff to answer inquiries at the station? I think for the 3 stations at the Tuen Ma line, you should actually create the physical customer service counters.
I'm the last one to ask in the first round. I've heard from members, most of them commented on the service quality of the MTRCL. They expect the MTRCL to do better. When it comes to provision of quality service, you need good management and also a hardworking team. A hardworking team of staff members. In previous meetings, members were expressed concerns about MTRCL staff members. You told us that you have worked hard in recruiting more staff members. You mentioned about a wastage of 7% to about 3.9% in recent years. We are concerned about manpower shortage in certain types of jobs, say for example, track, service, power supply, and specific grades. Mr. Kwok, can you tell us more about recruitment as well as wastage? You expect more train lines to be commissioned. So what can you do to ensure manpower supply and quality of your teams? In paragraph 11, you mention about predictive maintenance. A number of members, including Mr. Ben Chen, talked about the golden window of 2 hours. You only have that to conduct maintenance and repair. In paragraph 11, you talk about predictive maintenance. You make use of innovative technologies such as big data analytics, AI, smart video analysis, satellite navigation, etc. You invited us to visit your integration lab as well as your maintenance center. With the use of technology, does it mean that the golden window of 2 hours is no longer a constraint? You don't have to wait till off-traffic hours. Making use of predictive maintenance, have you achieved effective maintenance of your service? Are you no longer bound by the golden window of 2 hours? Mr. Kwok, thank you. Thank you for your kind words. It's always been our goal to provide quality service. In reply to Mr. Chow's question, staff member is an important asset of the MTRCL. To achieve predictive maintenance, we rely on a team that works seamlessly with we rely on teams that work seamlessly with one another. We continue to conduct recruitment exercises. We have a good brand. We provide good remuneration and employment packages and fringe benefits. We'll closely monitor the situation. Indeed, our establishment has remained unchanged in recent years. From 2008, if we compare with 2025, we have achieved zero growth, especially when it comes to a maintenance team. Can you give us information about manpower shortage in specific types of jobs? What's your response measures? We are recruiting staff members for different jobs. We see there is an increasing demand. If there is a manpower shortage, we outsource the service. We rely on contractors to conduct maintenance and repair in some areas. We're working very hard to recruit. We want to ensure that we are able to do predictive maintenance. Now I turn to making use of innovative technology and new technologies. It's something that we've been doing. The Integrated Wheelset Maintenance Center, the Innovation Lab, the digitalized studio, these are the results of our continuous investment. Can we shed the constraint of golden window of 2 hours? Well, all the work will have to do it trackside. We only have 2 hours of traffic hours to do that. Our system is maturing. We'll do our best to meet the challenges. We use our professionalism and our dedicated team to do that. If we are unable to do what we're supposed to do, we will closely communicate with stakeholders. We want to make sure that we can achieve predictive maintenance. That's all for the first round. Members would like to ask questions in the second round. Anyone else who would like to ask questions in the second round? If not, we'll end this item after Mr. Alan Chan has asked his questions. Mr. Chan, 2 minutes question and answers included. I want to ask about the international benchmarking. We know that you can always do better. We see that the international standard is higher. First, punctuality. The MTRCO uses 5 minutes. Singapore uses 2 minutes. Please go straight to your question so that there will be time for the representatives to answer. So Singapore 2 minutes, Hong Kong 5 minutes when it comes to punctuality. Will the MTRCO change the standard to 2 minutes? And if there is a delay between 2 and 8 minutes, there won't be any report made. Will you supply information of delays between 2 and 8 minutes to the LegCo? We know that on the mainland, the standard is higher when it comes to the distance from the ground to the station entrance. Will you increase from 450 milliliters to a higher level? Do you have the information to reply the question? First, about the indicators. We follow the operating agreements with the Transport Department. We supply various data to the department. Different railway services have different characteristics. So I'm not going to talk to you about the differences. In relation to the 450 millimeter requirement, do we need to increase or decrease or decrease it? It depends on the topography as well as the uniqueness of the location. 450 mm has always worked for us. We've had 2 black rainstorm warnings so far this year. We see that standards we have enables us to provide a safe, reliable, and efficient service. If there is a need to do better, we will. That's the end of our discussion for this item. Thank the MTRCL as well as the administration for attending this meeting to answer our questions. Now, next item. Progress update on railway projects in the Northern Metropolis. Please invite the administration to join us. Members, please refer to paper CB bracket 3754/2026 bracket 03. We welcome representatives of the administration and those of the MTRCL. Members, if you'd like to ask questions, please press the request to speak button. We ask the administration to take us through the paper. Well, there is a PowerPoint presentation. It's paper number CB bracket 3774/2026 bracket 01. I would like to make an opening remark before we go to the PowerPoint presentation. We're here with the Highways Department as well as the MTRCL to give you the latest information of the Northern Metropolis. The 15th five-year plan clearly asks for the expedited development of the Northern Metropolis and promote coordinated development of rail transit in the various areas. There is a special mention about the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail Link. Under the new 8 vertical and 8 horizontal transport infrastructure layout, we actively take forward railway projects to enhance connectivity internally within the Northern Metropolis and externally with other areas. We want to enhance the hardware connectivity with the GBA to better integrate into the overall national development. We adopt a multi-pronged approach to promote cost-effective railway construction. We have promulgated recently the Hong Kong Railway Standards, which advocates the use of innovative technology materials. We also established a railway checking unit under the Highways Department to handle approval procedures. There is also the dedicated legislation to streamline procedures. Under the premise of ensuring safety and efficiency, we aim to promote the efficiency, enhance the efficiency of our railway services. I'll defer to my colleague and also Mr. Tang of the MTRCL to take you through the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you. I will make use of the PowerPoint presentation to give you information about railway projects in the Northern Metropolis. The area in purple is the Northern Metropolis. The areas in yellow are the major development areas. Gray lines are railway services. We have the East Rail Line as well as Tuen Ma Line. In the middle, there is the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail Link. We're working with the MTRCL to construct 2 new stations, including Kutong Station along the East Rail Line, as well as on the Tuen Mun Line, Hong Shui Q Station. At the same time, we're promoting 2 railway projects that are across the boundary. That is the pale blue Northern Line as well as the red Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail Link. You also find planned lines, that is the Northern Link Eastern Extension, the Northeast New Territories Line, as well as the Central Rail Link. We have put in place 3 measures. In February this year, the Highways Department has promulgated the Hong Kong Railway Standards. In the Western Rail Link as well as the Northern Link, this standard will be used. Secondly, the Highways Department has established the Railway Checking Unit dedicated in handling plans, submissions, and approval. There is also an electronic platform to improve efficiency of approval processes. There will be dedicated legislation to accelerate the development of the Northern Metropolis. It aims to streamline the implementation process in transport infrastructure projects to enhance efficiency. Now I go into the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail Link. This is an important strategic project. The National 15th Five-Year Plan clearly proposes the advancement of preparatory work of this rail link. This will enhance a high-end economic cooperation with the mainland. It also serves a local commuting need as well. It has a length of about 18.1 kilometers. It will run from the west of Hung Shui Kiu Station towards the north via Lafaoshan, Hajun. It crosses Deep Bay and via Shenzhen Bay Port, linked to Tianhai. It will be functional. It has a dual function of a cross-boundary and a local commute. It will only take 15 minutes to travel from Hung Shui Kiu to Tianhai. In June, we started the investigation and design work. Since then, we have go at full steam to promote the project. In June this year, we have submitted the EIA report to the Environmental Protection Department. We're also preparing railway scheme Gazetto documents. We think that Gazetto will take place within this year. We are ready for tender invitation for design, build, and operate contract. We want to start the tender exercise in 2027 for commission of construction in 2034. There will be integrated testing. We want to commission the Hong Kong section and the Shenzhen section in 2035. Now I defer to Carl Tang of the MTRCL to give you information about the Tuen Mun Line, construction of the Northern Link, as well as other projects.
MTR Corporation advancing 7 railway projects in Hong Kong, among them the Northern Link, which includes the East Rail Line, Kutong Station and Hung Shui Kiu Station on the Chun Ma Line, are projects in the Northern Metropolis. The Corporation is keenly aware of their significance for Hong Kong's long-term development and future growth. We make dedicated efforts in planning and construction to ensure timely delivery of the projects, including constantly challenging ourselves and addressing challenges with innovative solutions. The Hung Shui Kiu Station, to be located between Tin Shui Wai and Su Hong stations on the Chun Ma Line, will serve the Hung Shui Kiu Hashun new development area and nearby districts in the Northern Metropolis. A major part of our projects in the Northern Metropolis is the Northern Link, which comprises of the main line and the spur line in addition to Kutong Station, as I just mentioned. The main line will connect the existing East Rail Line and the Chun Ma Line, serving a number of new development areas in the Northern Metropolis, and the spur line will provide direct connection to Hong Kong Port in Shenzhen from the third cross-boundary railway link. Hung Shui Kiu Station is the first station to be built that we're building on an operating railway viaduct. It is another highly challenging project requiring exceptional precision to safeguard the integrity of the operating viaduct. Construction commenced in late 2024 and is targeted for completion in 2030. In future, the station will connect with the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail Link and the Smart and Green Mass Transit System in Hung Shui Kiu Hachun, forming a strategic transportation hub for convenient travel between Shenzhen and the various parts of Hong Kong. With a substantial portion of the construction works having to be carried out on and around the operating viaduct, we have been advancing construction work cautiously and meticulously, including the successful removal of the parapet wall segments on both sides of the viaduct and modification of the overhead lines by optimising the non-traffic hours over hundreds of nights. Foundation works are now in full swing within the confined working space on both sides of the viaduct, and station structural construction will commence later this year. Modular integrated construction will be applied extensively by using large amount of prefabricated station units. Assembly of these units will take place on site. The station structure will then be moved to their designated positions through an innovative skidding method. On Northern Link, we entered into the Part 1 project agreement with the Government in July 2025, enabling the expedited delivery of both the main line and spur line with the target of jointly opening the two lines no later than 2034. The project officially commenced in October 2025, starting with some of the critical works for the main line. Detailed planning and design of the spur line is underway, with the proposed railway scheme for the Hong Kong section of the spur line gazetted last week. Kutong Station on the East Rail line is progressing well and set for completion in 2027 to serve the Kutong North new development area. It will be the first new railway station in the northern metropolis to be opened and will connect with the future main line of the Northern Link. It will also become MTR's 100th heavy rail station upon commissioning. As shown in this short video, following the topping out of Kutong Station in November last year, construction of the two above-ground exits and entrances was also recently completed. The station has now entered the electrical and mechanical work stage, with internal fitting out and building services installations taking place at the same time. Kutong Station is the first new MTR station being built atop an operating railway. While E&M works are in full swing within the station box, normal train services of the East Rail line are being maintained throughout the construction of the station. As members may know through our earlier publicity, one of the innovative initiatives we have taken is to set up a Capital Works integration lab off-site. It enables us to carry out E&M testing ahead of civil works completion. Around 60% of the E&M system integration testing has been completed by the time of the topping out of Kutong Station. It has helped us in managing the programme of the construction of the station in the short time since the signing of the project agreement in September 2023. To ensure both safe train operation and safe station construction at any time, we extensively adopt highly diversified construction methods with prefabricated components, helping to enhance the efficiency and quality of on-site works during both the civil construction stage and the current E&M works stage. Turning to the Northern Link main line, the large-scale advance works critical to commencing the main construction works are progressing as planned. The alignment of Northern Link is entirely underground. Railway tunnels will largely be built by massive tunnel boring machines weighing hundreds of tonnes. Construction of the launching shafts for lifting and assembling the tunnel boring machines has already commenced. We have just completed construction of the diaphragm walls of the first launching shaft. Excavation and construction of this shaft structure will follow. As tunnel boring machines are solely powered by electricity, the project's advanced works includes the construction of a power substation to meet the substantial electricity demand of the future tunnel boring works. To address the construction challenges of the new projects, we have been actively exploring and implementing new technologies throughout the project lifecycle, from planning and design to construction and project management. Innovation is equally important. A good example is the integration lab I mentioned earlier. This facility overcomes the constraints of on-site testing and transforms the traditional approach of conducting E&M works only after all civil works have been completed. The corporation is committed to delivering our projects, including the Northern Link and Hung Shui-Kiu Station, on time and within budget, while upholding quality and ensuring safety of construction activities and railway operations. We will continue to work closely with the government to advance these projects to contribute to the successful development of the Northern Metropolis. Thank you.
Thank you. Now it's time for members to ask questions. Now there are 7 members who've asked to speak. I'll read out their names. The first is Christine Fong, followed by Lerman Kwong, Aaron Bok, Tam Chun Kwok, Andrew Lam, Chow Siu Chung, and Chong Ho Fong and Alan Chen. Each will have 4 questions, including question and answer. The first one is Christine Fong. Thank you, Chairman. The Northern Metropolis, the railway projects, including the extension of the Tung Chung line and the main line of the Northern Link and the spur line with the Kutong Station, Tuen Mun South extension connected to the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail Link. In terms of the update, paragraph 15 mentions that it's roughly estimated that the adoption of the Hong Kong RS, together with the dedicated approval process by the Highways Department, just now you said you use electronic documents to expedite the approval. So together, the main line and the spur line, about 20% of the construction costs can be reduced. In making the estimates of the construction costs, besides streamlining the approval procedures and also implementing the main line together with the spur line, there's also mention of the DMS MA and MIMEP. Besides them, what other measures have you adopted or would you adopt to reduce the cost by 20% on the whole? And also for the new railway plan, like New Territories Northeast, in Kowloon, there are lots of planes. Now we were discussing earlier about adverse weather. When there are lots of planes in an area with lots of planes, in terms of engineering layout and planning, how can you avoid the risk of flooding? Particularly in low-lying areas, how can you reduce the risk of flooding? And so as to avoid flooding in the future at the stations. At the same time, you want to provide barrier-free access for the disabled. So what is your thought on that? And also for the new railway standards, how do you decide how to control or decide on the construction control, cost control? Thank you. The Hong Kong railway standards actually are comprehensive, and they are applicable to Hong Kong, and they include the use of innovative technology to compress the cost while reducing manpower, and in terms of equipment deployment or tunnel design, there are also criteria applicable to Hong Kong, so we can save time and cost in constructing the rail lines. For example, construction materials, all those are covered by the standards. And to give you more specifics, I'll ask the Director of Highways to explain to us. Mr. Yao. Thank you, Ms. Fong, for your question. As mentioned in the paper, we can reduce the cost by 20%. It's due to various factors. The first is we adopt the Hong Kong Railway standards. That is in terms of consultants hired or contractors. We have more choices available because the standards cover the best standards from China and international community. So we open up to talents from around the world, and also the standards cover the equipment or advanced construction methods to be used, and we have a more open attitude to materials used, and the approval process can also be streamlined to save costs. And also we are simultaneously constructing the main line and the spur line that also help reduce our cost by 20%. Together with MTRCL, we are discussing with the corporation about making sure that we can reduce the cost by 20%. As for adverse weather, in our design criteria, we've also upgraded them to cope with adverse weather. And based on the extreme weather in the past few years, we have come up with a more comprehensive criteria. But ultimately, we need to keep updating them, especially in light of latest incidents or changes in adverse weather. We need to keep updating our standards. Next one, Leung Kwong. I'm concerned about the building of cross-boundary rail lines in the northern metropolis. How the advantages of Hong Kong in the Greater Bay Area can be well utilized through the railway connectivity. So on this part, I think there are two things you need to do. The first is for the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail Link, that is the connectivity with Hung Shui Kiu is important. I think the construction work is on schedule as planned by the government, but another part of it is the connectivity between the airports in Hong Kong and Shenzhen. The mainland part, that is from Shanghai to Shenzhen Airport, that's basically the overall construction should be ready by the end of this year. They are actually doing it very fast. Even the Guangdong-Shenzhen connectivity is further improved with that can facilitate the connectivity between the airport in Shenzhen and airport in Guangdong. But yet, on Hong Kong side, particularly Hung Shui Kiu, connectivity is connectivity with the airport director said that it's under planning and you carry out a study on how to connect the two. But seems that you're still at the research stage now. Back in 2023, me together with various members have suggested that the Hong Kong International Airport should be connected to the Hong Kong Shenzhen Western Rail Link through Hong Shui and Qianhai. I'm pleased to see that you are studying this connectivity, but how long will your study take? After the study, you have to invite tenders. Do you have any estimate about the size of the construction? How long would it take, you think, for the Hong Kong airport to be connected to various airports in Shenzhen, Guangzhou, so that the economy of the Greater Bay Area can be activated?
主席，多謝。
Mr. Lee, Deputy Secretary. First, let me talk about our planning concept. The first step is strategic. The positioning of Hong Shui Kiu is a high-end professional services as well as logistics hub. It will be connected to the Qianhai Cooperation Zone. If we can merge the two zones, it has great strategic value. That's our first task. As we've said many times, there is a northbound and westbound extension. Northbound will be the Shenzhen side. The southbound extension will be the Hong Kong side. We're looking into it. We have a task force for cooperation in cross-boundary railway infrastructure. The scope covers the northbound and southbound extension. The concept is to connect the infrastructures, say for example airports. We consider different alignment in the southbound extension, one of which is connection with the airport. There are different alignment options, maybe a direct connection or via Sunny Bay. We're considering the different options. We are very serious when it comes to the southbound extension. Is there a timetable? There is the Hong Shui Kiu Qianhai section will be our first focus. We will continue to study the southbound extension. I can't give you a timetable on the southbound extension yet, but it is part of our work. But please just seize time and don't lag behind. Yes, time waits for no one. Next, Mr. Alan Bok. I have a good word to say about the Hong Kong MTRCL. They have taken on board a number of projects. They need to work hard. The Northern Link Spur Line and the Hong Kong Shenzhen West Rail Link, they are both cross-boundary. The Spur Line and the Western Rail Link, what kind of signaling system will they use? Is it compatible with the existing signaling system of our railway lines? What about contingency plans for coordination as well as rescue along the Western Rail Link? And I think you need to consider that as well. I'll defer to the Commissioner for Northern Metropolis Railways, Mr. Raymond Yip. I thank the member for the question. Regarding the signaling system, well, the project itself is still at the design stage. According to the recently promulgated Hong Kong Railway Standards, new projects will use CBTC, which is Communications-Based Train Control, which is more or less the same as the one used by the MTRCL for local railway lines. Communications between the two government as well as coordination mechanism for emergencies. It needs further discussion in detailed design and construction. We draw reference from the high-speed rail. At that time, an emergency rescue task force was established. Its task was to formulate plans covering emergency and coordination. A coordinator mechanism was put in place. Regular drills were planned to handle emergencies, say, for example, fire in train compartments, incidents in tunnels, and passenger evacuation, etc. Any other follow-up? No? Next, Mr. Tam Chun Kwok. I'm glad to hear the good progress of the various projects. Of course, the earlier the commissioning, the better. Time waits for no one. Expediting the development of the Northern Metropolis is explicitly mentioned in the 15th Five-Year Plan. We need to expedite the railway project so that the infrastructure will lead development. We'll talk about the link between Hong Kong Airport and the Western Rail Link. This will encourage more people to use our airport. Paragraph 20 talk about the Hong Kong section of the Western Rail Line. Well, they want to complete the construction works in 2034 for simultaneous commissioning in 2030 with the Shenzhen section. There is a time lag of 8 years. When you talk about various measures to drive down cost, is there any room to compress the detailed design as well as construction period for an earlier commissioning date? Are there any mechanisms in place to guard against cost overrun? This is to make sure that the fare will be affordable to the general public. Time waits for no one is something that we fully agree. Let me give you information about the overall preparation for the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail Link. At an early stage, we have formed a task force on cross-boundary railway infrastructure to ensure that construction and work schedules of the two places will be dovetailed. When it comes to tunnel excavation, there is a unidirectional excavation from Shenzhen all the way to Foshan in Hong Kong. This will save efforts of switching machines. In addition, there is the dedicated legislation in the Northern Metropolis. When it comes to machineries like boring machines, there will be streamlined process to ensure that some applications for registration, labeling will be dispensed with while ensuring safety. Under the Hong Kong Railway standards, a compressed timeline will be put in place for materials, equipment, and systems. We aim to have a simultaneous commissioning of the two sections. With the support of the task force, we will separately engage contractors, operators. In the end, there will be a single operator for the operation of the railway line. We communicate with the Shenzhen side. We put in place regulatory framework. We want to compress timeline. We want to compress time and drive down cost from planning all the way to commissioning. Mr. Andrew Lam, I want to follow up on a point raised by Mr. Tam. When it comes to use of technology and materials, These are touched on under the railway standards and the dedicated legislation. Will the Northern Link spur line benefit from the update? Will these be incorporated in the tender exercise? The financing of the Western Rail Link. I think we may need to use the Railway Plus property. So the estimate of the properties, will they be located at the station? Can you give us information about your estimate, preliminary estimates? Deputy Secretary. First, the standards and the dedicated legislation. Will they help with expediting our progress, or will these delay them? Let me give you some information. We already have the railway standards. It applies to all new railway projects. The dedicated legislation of the Northern Metropolis. The Development Bureau aims to introduce the bill to LegCo for passage within this year. So you'll have more information about the requirements under the dedicated legislation. Timetable for the Northern Link. NTRCL has signed Part 1 of the agreement with us in relation to the Northern Link. We want to sign the remaining parts of the agreement for the main line and the spur line. Will reflect the requirements under the railway standards and dedicated legislation. The new standards and new requirements will only help us to expedite the project. It won't delay us. I hope I have answered Mr. Lam's question. The financing or financial arrangement of the Western Railway Link. We have been using the development mode of Railway Plus a property for our projects. It's been working well. We'll continue to adopt this approach as a basis when it comes to financial arrangements of new projects. Of course, we have to take into consideration the projects, whether other options are required. But I can tell you at this moment in time that Railway Plus property will apply to the new Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail Link. We're looking into whether the properties will be along the railway line. We need to consider the capacity of the project and the possible locations. For property plus railway development, of course, we first consider locating the properties along the railway line. This will create synergy, but in the end, we have to consider the financial benefits. We don't rule the possibility of identifying other locations for the properties. It's a railway line with a length of 18 kilometers. People from the mainland told us that they normally will not incorporate into the municipal government's plans, but their annual plans. So if this project is explicitly mentioned in the 15th five-year plan, it has significant strategic value. In Shenzhen, from Shenzhen, it will be linked to Qianhai, that's the Shenzhen side. On the Hong Kong side, it will be linked to Hung Shui Kiu, which is a high-end professional service and logistic hub. This is an important part But the north and south extension will complete the strategic significance. It will be linked northward to Shenzhen Airport and to the south to Hong Kong Airport, which has about over 200 destinations, and the Shenzhen Airport covering over 100 destinations. It will be best to use a railway line which is punctual and reliable. Currently, you take land transport. If you go via Tuen Mun, you don't know when you arrive at the airport because of a serious congestion. If we have the railway, there will be the external circulation. If it connects to Sunny Bay, then it can further cover a population of 500 or 600,000 from Hong Kiew, Yuen Long, and other areas. They don't have to use the Tung Chung extension anymore. So from Hong Kiew to Sunny Bay and then to the airport, then you can achieve both external and internal circulation. This should be the direction that you keep in mind. You talk about studies. When will you publish the proposal? There is one proposed line via Samshing, So Kun Fat, Siu Lam to Yano from Yuen Long. It's still on the drawing board. The project will be completed in 2034. That is the Western Rail Link. Will the southern and northern extension be completed within the same year?
Deputy Secretary, thank you, Mr. Chong. So for the southern extension of the Western Rail Link, as I said, now for the Hong Kiew Tianhai section, that's already an important project that is connecting the logistics circle with in Hong Kiew with Tianhai. So we need to get that done first. As for southern extension, as I said, we understand that if it can be connected to the Hong Kong International Airport, that would be good and help with the easing the traffic pain points locally. So we're moving in that direction. I know that Director of Highways can supplement. Director? Yes, I said. Internally, we are carrying out a study on the southern extension. You want to know the time frame? I think the most important is the alignment. Your alignment, what spur line you want to build, will affect the scale of the project. So now we are doing a study on the spur line, the location. We need to look at the technical feasibility first. In Tuen Mun or nearby areas, they are near the coast, so we need to see whether technically it's feasible to build the line there. And also, for the overall transportation system, Mr. Chong mentioned a key point. We want to connect to the airport and also benefit our entire local transportation network because it's such an important railway line. So the spur line would involve the connectivity with the airport. And once we've decided on the alignment, overall alignment, and the scale of the project, then we can determine the time frame. But for the railway line itself, it is actually moving ahead. And if there's any involvement of underwater tunnels, of course, that will also affect our future time frame for the extension. Next one. Yes. The strategic importance of the Western Rail Link, and secondly, about the hidden financial black hole of the Northern Line. On the strategic importance of Western Rail Link, Well, as mentioned by Lemon Kwong and other members, Mark and so forth, well, they suggested the extension to the Hong Kong and Shenzhen airports. I think incorporating Shenzhen Airport is very important because we're competing with Guangzhou Airport. Therefore, we need to incorporate Shenzhen Airport into our system because people getting off at Shenzhen Airport can reach Tsim Sha Tsui in Hong Kong within 18 minutes. So we can regard it as one of our domestic airports. So we can have, if we can have more connectivity with it, then that will bring benefits to us. Every day there are more than 1,100 flights getting in and out of the Shenzhen Airport every day. So in the future, if we can have this connectivity, then we can invite or have more passengers coming to different regions in the province, and more sources of tourists can be brought to Hong Kong. And Hong Kong Airport can also become an international airport in southern China and further consolidate our status as compared to the Guangzhou Airport. So we need the connectivity with Shenzhen Airport to consolidate our aviation status. Around the world, international cities like London, which is an international financial center, it has 5 airports. And New York has 4 domestic airports. So we need to have Shenzhen as one of our domestic airports. Otherwise, our status as an international aviation hub will be affected. But that is in line with the 15th five-year plan. Hong Kong Airport has a capacity for 120 million passenger trips. I think without the passenger sources from Shenzhen, we cannot reach that target without the support of this new railway network. Because right now we only have 61 million passenger trips, and so we still have half of our projected capacity unfulfilled. So we need the support of the passengers from Shenzhen. And also, as for the potential budget overrun, the government expected 58 billion, and later the amount rose. And according to Citibank research, Phase 2, the cost may go up. The key is that Hong Kong allocated 10 plots of land of 20 hectares in size to MTRC. So together with the land premiums of $39 billion, are we really reducing the cost by 20%? If there is any budget overruns, who will bear the cost? Is it the MTR shareholders or the Hong Kong government? Who will bear the cost? Deputy Secretary, let me clarify here. When it comes to cost overrun, I need to clarify that it's not an issue that won't happen at all. Because I think, Mr. Chen, you were referring to the financial arrangement for the entire Northern Link. But what we're going to do is that we have signed the agreement for the first phase project, and there's also a cost estimate under the agreement. Together with MTRCL, we're carrying out a study which is maturing. That is for the remaining stage, what the financial arrangement should be, and the actual cost or the arrangement for the construction of the remaining works. So I need to clarify that there isn't any possibility of or assumption of budget overruns because we're still actually making the financial estimates. And as for your view on connectivity with the Shenzhen Airport, yes, your idea is taken on board, is noted. We all know that the Hong Shui and Shanghai section is of value, but if it's further connected to the Hong Kong Airport, it will be even better. But let me add that the Hong Kong International Airport has multiple sources of passengers. We are actually carrying out various measures to attract passengers who arrive by sea or by road so that the airport is better connected with other areas. So I'm sure the southern extension of the West Rail Link can help, but before that happens, that doesn't mean that we cannot reach or fulfill the status or positioning of the Hong Kong International Airport. Now, I now announce that we will extend the meeting by 10 minutes to deal with the remaining procedures and questions. The next one is Yu Ming. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak. You understand that the Northern Metropolis is positioned to be an international iconic area, a first-rate development. And now I'm pleased to see the railway projects there in the Northern Metropolis, and I'm sure that in the future the area will be better connected with the Greater Bay Area. And it is expected to have a population of 2.5 million people. Do you have planned to build a high-speed rail station, in the Shunduk city in Guangdong with only 3 million people? It has actually various stations, local stations, but Hong Kong, with an area of 1,100 square kilometers, and we have actually a bigger size. So has the government carried out any study or planning to actually build additional high-speed rail stations? You can see our layout to the east. There are some mature railway projects, and to the west, there lacks heavy rail cross-boundary projects. So we have the Western Rail Link under construction, and in the middle there is the Northern Link spur line, which can take people to the new Hong Kong port. So that's our layout for now. That's what our focus is. But as for high-speed rail link, I think in the west, in the future, in the Western Rail Link, there will be a co-location of immigration and customs facilities. So relatively speaking, that can provide convenience for people crossing the boundary. As for further on going forward, can we have a high-speed rail station? Well, you can see our vast network now already. So we'll focus on the two major cross-boundary links first. That is the Northern Link and the Western Rail Link first. So in the future, under our blueprint, there could be other projects to follow up on, including the southern extension. So we'll look at the future projects as time goes and carry out relevant studies. Understand? But I can see that in your plan that you've given us, the Ultimate station is really close to the line of the high-speed rail link right now. Is there a chance that you can reserve some space to look at the feasibility of that is turning Ultimate station as a hub, which is right in the middle of the Northern Metropolis, because we have the high-end logistics professional services area right here, and Ultimate is right in the middle, and the high-speed rail service is right next to the Ultimate station. If there's any connectivity established, then mainland passengers can just take one stop at Ultimate to come to Hong Kong. So I think you can reserve some space around Ultimate. That is for the future. You can consider when the time comes for expansion to carry out feasibility study for high-speed rail link there near Ultimate.
Deputy Secretary, we heard the member, but when it comes to the details, we have to consider the distance from Ultimate as well as the depth of ground level. But we've heard you. We asked the administration to take these factors into account when it comes to the detailed design stage. I'm the last person to speak in the first round. I'm not going to ask questions already covered by members, but I have 2 points. Mr. Andrew Lam talked about the financing of the Western Rail Link. It's been answered by the Deputy Secretary. What about the apportionment of revenue of the two sides? Would it be similar to the arrangement under the high-speed rail? Well, if you already have an idea, please tell us. If you don't, we understand. Last year, $338 million was approved by the Finance Committee for investigation of the Hong Kong section. We expressed concerns about the layout of the boundary control point. We understand that there is an agreement for co-location at Shenzhen, but along the Shenzhen section, there are 2 stations. So is there a decision by the task force as to which out of the 2 stations will the customs clearance be located? Can you give us information? Is there any update? Deputy Secretary. The apportionment arrangement with the Shenzhen side is something that is under discussion in the task force. There are some principles. I can give you the information. There is the Shenzhen section and there is the Hong Kong section. When it comes to stations and tunnels, the cost will be borne by the sites where the facilities are located. But there are some common facilities, say for example trains and signaling systems, there will be apportionment. That's the principle. If it can be clearly delineated as to where it belongs, then it will be for the respective sides. For common facilities, there will be an apportionment. It's still under discussion at the task force. What about revenue? There will be apportionment. However, there are complicated factors. We'll have to first talk to the Shenzhen side. It involves local fees as well as cross-boundary fees. So if it's cross-boundary, then the apportionment arrangement will apply. We're still discussing it with the Shenzhen side. Co-location. We agree with the Shenzhen side that the co-location facilities will be on the Shenzhen side. Well, if the facilities are located in 2 stations, it will be better than 1. But there are different factors. Different factors at play, say for example, resources allocation. We'll report to you when we have some results. That's the end of the first round. Ms. Christine Fong would like to ask questions in the second round. 2 minutes, question and answers included. Thank you. In the Northern Metropolis, when there is a railway line, then it will bring people as well as economic benefits. I heard about the financing arrangement of the Western Rail Link. I don't know which department is in charge of the dedicated legislation. Can profit from the property be used to subsidize railway project? In Lohas Park, if a covered walkway wants to be exempted from GFA, you have to go through a cumbersome process. Will this be proposed so that connections, residential properties will be covered as well, so that there won't be additional applications for exemption. If there is going to be exemption anyway, will it be covered already? Will this standard be covered? Will it be talked about in the task force? The facilities can simply be built. But now we see that sometimes it's done in phases. The cover of the covered walkway, I think it can be better connected. The chairman asked a very good question. The location of the co-location. Will you draw reference from the approach of Huang Gang? Time's up, but we'll hear a short answer from the Deputy Secretary. I'll answer the first question first. The co-location arrangement. We want to adopt the same approach of single clearance. This will be convenient for travelers. The second question is whether the standards will help with the property development and the development of the project. The dedicated legislation and the Hong Kong Railways standards help with approval of plans and schemes. If it involves building standards, and if it is under the scope of the cross-boundary project, it may be considered. If it involves innovative building technologies, it may benefit. If it's about building services approvals, it will help. But if it is solely under the purview of property development, say for example GFA exemption, well, we'll have to see how we can help. That's the end of the discussion item. Once again, I thank representatives of the administration and those of the MTRCL for coming here to answer questions. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.